Hello, educators and those who are tuning in. Welcome to Educators with Oil. I am your hostess, Ronette Branham, here to offer biblical strategies for effective teaching. This is an exciting time of the year when we just uh, are showing so much love for this season. This is it. But at the same time, we're thinking about what we're going to do better next year, or we're thinking about what do we do this year that we can change or continue. It depends on what it is. And then, sometimes we're that winter blues and we start forgetting how great our lives are. So today we have a guest, and that is Linda Miller. She is a speech therapist and a keynote speaker. So she's our keynote speaker for today, even though it's going to be conversational. But I'm excited to have Linda here with us. She works for one of the biggest school districts in New Jersey. So let's welcome Linda Miller. How are you today, Linda?
I am good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited about this and thinking about this weather. Like I told you earlier, I'm in North Carolina and I had
Mhm.
to take off my coat today. But I know
Wow.
yesterday in New Jersey, it was like 6 degrees and all that kind of stuff happening. So I'm excited. I forget about this winter blues down here.
I know it's cold and it was snowing this morning.
Yeah, yeah. So how's this weather treating you? You good with it?
Yeah, so far so good. It hasn't been as brutal as I know Jersey and the East Coast can be. So far so good. Now that winter has definitely showed up to say, "Hey, I'm here." Now we have to get ready for it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited. And then I'm excited too about our episode today, reigniting your passion, overcoming burnout and embracing balance for educators. So before we get into that, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you come about being this great speaker and facilitator, workshop leader. I mean, I'm loving it. I've been in at least one of yours, and then I see what you're doing, so I'm excited about this one.
All
So
right. So here we go. So I'm Linda Miller. I am a speech therapist by trade. And I use the information that I learned as a speech therapist, being able to communicate, and also going through burnout and being an educator and talking to other colleagues about how to do better, how to have more freedom, how to have more joy. Because we all got into the career, but then as time has passed, we get kind of like, we tired, it's too much things happening, maybe the paperwork is built up, the students are maybe different, colleagues are different, administrators, and we just are tired. But also we have our home lives where now some of us are caretakers, we have children, nieces and nephews, maybe we're taking grandparents, we're taking care of other people. So, I try to use those things to help fellow educators to get a strategy and structure in place to help them. You do what you love to do, which is, educating the students, but then also making sure you have time for joy. And so that's where I have a company, Happy Reading LLC, and that's where I merged my love for being a speech therapist and then my love for being an avid reader. I merged the two together and came up with a strategy to help educators, find that balance for what you love and then, what you do for a career. You love that as well. But we want to have more joy.
yeah, I like that. I see some things we learn about people as we talk to them, and I even when you said that, I saw a way to contact you, and I was like, I don't know, that one is that old. I wasn't sure, so I wasn't sure if I should put it. But now you're saying, I'm like, I think that was exactly what I should have added in order
Mhm.
to contact you. But
Mhm.
that's exciting because we do sometimes forget that our job actually brings us joy, because it
Yes.
it it does when you're sitting and helping a student and you watch their progress.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
sometimes you see it. It takes over time. It takes time, or sometimes you see it right away, or one day all of a sudden they just learn something. And you're like, wow, that's joy
Exactly.
to me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That just makes your heart, and it also brings you back to your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And those moments those things bring you back to, oh, that's why I do it. That's why I want to help my students communicate better, because I can communicate. But what happens when you can't? That's frustration. And some of our students go through that, being frustrated. And I even seen colleagues frustrated trying to communicate their needs and wants, to others. So that joy, you have to go back to that why. That's where your heart is.
That's so true. Because sometimes we forget, like, why are we doing this? But just knowing, just bringing it back to our remembrance. And then you said that some people can't communicate. I have students, or I have had students. I have to keep remembering to say I had students because but I had students who I didn't understand what they were saying. I remember even when I taught preschool, I had a little boy. He had to go to another school, and as a child, I never said it. A child said, "Why is he going to a different school so he could learn how to talk?" He understood that we didn't understand what this little child was saying, and he needed speech besides the support coming into our classroom. He needed to be in a facility where they could actually help him. So I appreciate your job. So I'm not going to get into it. Keep on going. I have it like a sort of outline, but I know you have a message for us.
Whatever you
So
want, we gonna flow with it. Look, we in this career, we are flexible. We are flexible, so we're
yeah,
gonna flow however it's gonna flow tonight.
yeah. Okay, so I got it. So how do you identify burnout? We say where people are burnt out. How do you identify that? How do because you cannot know that you're burning out, or if that's the real word for it. But you cannot know. You can walk around with headaches or whatever it is, but you
Exactly.
don't know. You just think you're stressed, or you don't know that's burnout. How do you?
Exactly. I identify it as being overexhausted, um, not being able to keep up with your deadlines, not doing the things really that you love to do. You rather just sit home and do nothing, but mainly like always being exhausted, high complaints, not wanting to, like, every day you're just like, as soon as you get into work, you're ready for the end of it because you're tired. You're
Yeah,
always on
yeah.
like 10 or 25 because everything just bothers you. And you get to the point where you're like, well, I don't care. I don't care. Or it's like it'll get done when it'll get done when it'll get done. No. But that you're so tired, and you just don't know what to do. And you can't keep up. And you always saying yes to stuff that you know you're not gonna do. I'm gonna sign up for this
Uh,
workshop. You know you're not gonna go. Oh, I said I'm gonna tell my friends we're going out for dinner. You know you're not gonna go. You just want to rest.
yeah, yeah.
These are
I
the
because
thing with that
I think about
exhaustion.
that.
Yeah, that definitely exhaustion. You just I don't, and you get angry a lot. You definitely are
Oh.
angry a lot. So I'll tell you this. I'll tell you a story on
Mhm.
that topic right there. 2021, October 6th. I remember it like it was yesterday. So we came back from virtual learning, and in our field, we had everybody thought that their child needed speech. Everybody thought, and then everybody thought Jersey City was the place to be because now everyone is just coming to Jersey City. We want speech. We want speech, and the cases were just rising so high. And it got to the point where I was drowning in the ocean and didn't know it. Didn't know it. And luckily, one of my colleagues had mentioned it to the supervisor. Oh, Linda has too many cases. On top of your regular cases, your other kids are coming in. So you have to see them. You have to test them. You have to have meetings.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah.
just like out of control. And this particular day, I remember because I went to get my blood pressure checked from the nurse. I said, hey, before I go home, can you just check my blood pressure? Because I had gotten a little dizzy. I had the maintenance was cleaning the floor, and it was something that the smell had gotten to me. And I said, well, let me just go check because I got a little dizzy. And I was sitting down. So I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's happening? And my pressure was high. And then I couldn't get into the doctor, but I went home and my family was around me and we got the pressure down, but it took all night. I went back to work. 8:45, she checked my pressure. It was the same pressure the day
Oh,
before. She said, so everybody got to go home. I went to we got to the doctor and we finally did what we needed to do. And now here comes medication because the stress level and the burnout was so high, but I didn't pay attention to it. I was just so angry and just dealing with it that it was just, out of control. So now, when I went back to my follow up, it's so funny. The doctor said, "Well, what happened? Because you surely look different." I said, "I let that go." I said, I let that go, and whatever it's going to be is going to be. I'm going to try to do my job the best of my ability. My supervisors now are aware because they said they wasn't aware of the high volume that was happening in my particular building. So that made them check all the buildings now. How is everybody else doing? Because that was just too much. But now I've learned to say, "Hey, I need help," and I've told my other colleagues, when it's too much for you, say something. Don't get taken
yeah.
out of here because guess what? You leave here, somebody else gonna get hired. So say when. So I learned that. So that's my story on that one.
Absolutely. And you know how many people you helped
Mm-hmm.
just by you going through that. You went through that. You did that for us. You took one for the team, but that really works because
Right.
you weren't recognizing, even though you knew it was a lot, but you didn't recognize that
No,
this could take me out of here.
I didn't, and it could have because I drive back and forth by myself. So imagine that you're not paying
Yeah.
attention that you having a headache for a reason, but you're not realizing maybe I ate something. Oh, I have a headache, but that's not what it was. Stress. And so
Yeah.
those warning signs we have, it's like, you say flag on the play. We have to really know and understand when there's a flag on the play, and we have to identify that, or our body will shut us down.
Absolutely. That's what somebody told me. They said they had to, their body told, instead of them listening to their body made them listen, forced them down. And that is something I had to take off 2 weeks
Mm,
last school year because it was too much. I had a headache for a month and a half straight, and it wasn't a little headache. It was like here, and then that
mm,
over there. It's called the trigeminal nerve or trigeminal. I don't know,
mm-hmm,
but it's a thing where you normally would have a headache here, or you would have it here with that nerve, or you
mm-hmm.
would have it here. No, it wasn't for me. All three, and it was like
That's serious.
if the average person would have had a headache, they wouldn't have came to work. They
Mm,
would have said, "Man, this is too much." I kept on going because I kept on going. I was just I just did it. But I went to the doctor, and I don't know why I went to the doctor. I think to get rid of the headache. And
mm-hmm.
then I just broke down crying. And she was like, "Oh no, you're gonna stay home until I tell you to go back." And that's, you cannot go back until I release you back. And that was,
Right.
you know how you say, just give me 2 weeks. No, she said, no, you got to come back here. You have to come back, and then I'm gonna send somebody here. Are you open to talking to somebody? That's what I had to do. And I'm like, yeah, I can talk to somebody. I'm just crying. I'm just bawling in the doctor's office. I couldn't even.
Mm,
She was like, this is, you know, this is not normal, right? This is
right.
not. It's normal for somebody in stress,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So okay. Once we understand we're extra tired, we're cranky because we could be cranky when we're like that. We're extra tired. We're cranky. We're just saying, yeah, no good and well, we about to sit down. And so then what?
You have to identify what's happening. You have to identify what's the stresses, what's going on. Like you actually have to sit down and just figure out, okay, what are all these things that are bothering me? What's happening? What am I not able to do? What do I not want to do anymore? What's going on? So I would say you have to visualize what's going on. And I would say write it out. Write out all the things, because we do things and not realize how many things that we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's say now, because I've been a caretaker, one of the caretakers for my oldest sister when she was with us. So she was a part of my schedule. And my schedule was kind of based off of what she needed and how often she wanted to see me and what was necessary. So that becomes a part of my schedule. So I had to identify, like, okay, well, I can't do this now. I have to make sure she's tended to. So we have to really know what's happening. When you go to the restaurant and you say, well, what do you have? They have a menu in front of you. So you can look at
Yeah.
all the things that,
Hmm.
that are possible that you can have. So that's what we have to actually do. Write out our menu of things and people and places that have our attention so that we know what's going on. So that we can kind of like um, dissect that a little bit deeper.
Oh, I never did that. I never thought of it. It didn't even occur to me to write down everything I heard like that's pulling on you
Hmm.
or that's calling you. That's what I just heard. It doesn't necessarily have to be pulling on you, but it's taking your attention.
Hmm.
And I never thought of that. Like I think of this is what I have to do, so let me figure this out, but not like, okay, make a list of everything that needs you or you think needs you or think they need you. However you want to say it, that is calling you. Huh,
Yeah.
that's something because we will have a whole list of stuff. When I sit
Right.
down in the classroom, when I have all these students coming up behind me, and I'm like, wait a second, wait, sit down. I'm gonna do it all at the same time. Oh,
Exactly. You put all that
interesting.
down. And you know the funny part about that list? We are never on that list. Everybody else is on the list, but we're never on the list. Because I get it later.
Hmm.
I'll get to myself later. But if we are at empty, how are we helping people? And that's
No.
where really that burnout comes from because you're empty. Who's pouring into you? When are you sitting down
Yeah.
taking care of yourself? Just doing those, and it doesn't have to be anything major. Like some people think
No.
it has to be major. Like let's say you like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Well, what if you had the best coffee that you like, the brand you like, or that tea you like? And let's say maybe you had some good music that you like, or a show, or anything. But in that moment, that's like could be 10, 15 minutes. And that
Yeah.
joy, those little things. We look for like the big thing we have to do. No, just do those little things because that is self care. Because now you understanding that it's an inner work. It's an inner thing.
Yeah.
It's not an outer thing. It's an inner thing. And if the inner
Yeah.
is bruised and kind of broken a little bit, that's where that burnout. And we have to try to find ways to overcome that.
Yeah. I was thinking about as you were saying that about a car engine having a leak in the oil pan somewhere, and then how that oil starts going out and it could burn that engine out. Like
Hmm.
you just ride along and you like, okay, because our lights don't come on. I don't know why. I
Hmm.
had a flash. I had a car before, and I had a flash where I saw something. It was like a little oil symbol, but I didn't. It was so quick because it was the oil pressure, but I didn't
Mm.
know because it wasn't. It didn't stay on. But when I went to check it, I had no oil in my engine. It could have. I had. What happened was I went and got my oil changed, but he didn't change it. He just didn't. He did my brakes, but he didn't do the oil. So I'm riding thinking I have fresh oil in my car. Now I
Uh,
check it, and so my engine could have burned out. You know what
yes,
that would have done? It would have had no car because that's your car.
right.
But that's what that sounds like having that. I mean, I could go all kinds of scenarios. Having your cup overflowing. That's what you're helping people with. So fill your
Right.
cup up. I hear a lot that you're saying, but that is
Yes.
what's tugging at you.
Yeah, you
See if
have to
it's
pay
if it,
attention. A lot of time we're not paying attention because we're so busy. We think
yeah,
we have to be busy. And I think when we had to go through COVID's still here, but that height of
yeah,
that, people had to sit
yeah.
down. People
I
had no
know.
choice. They had to sit down and it drove people crazy. You couldn't leave the home. You couldn't leave the people in your house. Even if you live by yourself, you was tired of looking at yourself. you
I
couldn't
know.
you couldn't leave. You had the
You go
same
for walks for
four
no
walls
reason.
all the time. So we so busy, we got to get busy, busy, busy. But we have to learn how to relax. There's certain
Yeah,
times of the year we may be busier than others. But you can't tell me there's 4 seasons. Every season you busy.
every
There's no
season.
downtime.
I know, but you need it. I came down here, and it's like a getaway. My grandson, he's working, so in the daytime. Yesterday, he called me for something. I'm like, I was asleep. Like I was asleep, even though it took me a long time to drive here. I need that rest, but
Right,
this
right.
feels good. even though I live alone, it's just different because I'm away. You can't be called upon when
Right,
you're away.
exactly. And sometimes
But
you have to be unavailable.
yeah,
Sometimes you
you
have to be
do.
unavailable. You can't just be on 24/7.
That's
Sometimes even with
tiring.
our phones, we stress out. Oh, I might miss a call. I might miss a text. Well, you know what? I remember a time when if you didn't have voicemail, you just had to wait till somebody called you back.
Right, right. Oh
You
my
know what I
goodness,
mean? So
yeah.
I remember those days. We took a long time for my parents to get caller ID. So it was just too much. So sometimes we have to, and sometimes I started now putting the phone away from me. Now I use it as my alarm, but I still can move it away. I don't have to
Yeah,
have it near me. And we need time away from that technology. We need time away from that.
absolutely. You know what I do for my phone, unless I think somebody's gonna call me, but at 10 o'clock, I know that's kind of late to do it, but because I talk, I like to talk if somebody calls me. But at 10 o'clock, I turn my phone off, not turn off, put on sleep
Do not
mode or
disturb.
something. Do not disturb. I see. I
Okay.
think that's what you said. But yeah, do not disturb, and then it doesn't come. Sometimes it's until I turn it off, but every day it's until 5:30 when my alarm goes off. So I do that so I don't have to worry about somebody calling me in the middle of the night or I'm getting an alert because I can't hear alerts either. So that is something I think we all need to do that.
Exactly. Even I took off the notifications on my phone. I took those off. I'm like, I don't
Oh,
need
did
all of
you?
that or notification. Or some people can't put their phones on silent. You hear that I call the jingle bells. I'm like, you got the jingle bells on? Come on, turn that off. Like, or turn it down. Like, why do I have to hear that you got an email or that you have a text? And why do I have to hear all that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because they
But
get
that's what I do.
stressful.
It is. I do. That's what I do that for at nighttime. That at night it's off at 10 o'clock because it was waking me up.
Hmm.
It was disturbing my sleep, and now I got this watch and it's checking my sleep, and now it's like, no, I keep waking up, and I'm waking up because I'm hearing I got an email. Yeah.
Exactly. We have to learn to take breaks. We want to we want to scroll, we want to do other things, but we also could take our eyes away from that because that's a lot of energy in that technology because we don't know what it does to our body. We
No,
don't know. And then our brain actually needs time to sleep.
it does.
Even with the TV on, I have to go back to turning the TV off, making sure it goes off at a certain time, you know, because your
We
brain
do.
is working. You may be trying to sleep, but your brain is working because it hears the information.
Yeah, because that's what's happening to me with those alerts. I would get, you know how you subscribe to different things, and then
Hmm.
they have times when they're sending out, and I still don't understand why you would set it for midnight. Maybe it's not midnight where you live. I don't know. Why am I
Right,
getting a message at midnight? I know it's automated because
right.
I know you're not sending out messages to all your people at midnight. I don't get that. So I had to do that. And so also, okay, so we got this. It's January coming up. A lot of us, everybody should be off school right now in the United States. I don't know if we
Right.
are, but we got this. Okay, I made a checklist. When I go back January, all these things are calling me. All these things are causing can cause stress, have the ability to cause stress,
Hmm.
especially all together. But I want to teach. So what am I going to do? How is that going to turning stuff off? Is that going to bring back the joy, or should I be doing something else, like to get reacquainted with my love? You know?
I would say for getting reacquainted with your love, the same thing we did to the things that's calling your attention, write down all the things that you like. Because with all the things that we're doing with work and businesses, we're doing multiple things. We go to work and we run a business. So what happens to the things that we used to like to do? A lot of time we put that on the back burner. So I would say sit yourself down, put on some good music, and start writing all the things that you like to do, places you like to go. And don't worry about, oh, I want to hang out. No, no, no. These are things that you like. It's not based upon who
Yeah.
you're with. So all the things that you like to do, I would write them down. And as you can do them because you can fit them into your schedule. And that's where making a schedule is important, because your schedule is the foundation for how you live your life. If you pack it in, that's your fault because you pack it in. Now we know there's certain things that we have to get done. There's timelines. Like I work in this as a speech therapist, there's timelines for everything. So you have to make sure you're meeting those timelines. Now you can wait and rush and procrastinate because you're a little tired. I'll get it done later. I'll get it done. But then, let's say this one thing we have to do, like if we test someone, if it's an initial test, that's 90 days. I should not be waiting to the 70th day to either test or write up a report. Like that could be done already. That way it's already, already done and we ready, set, go. Like when I go back to work, the next day, I think we go back on the 2nd, but the 3rd, we have a meeting. I made sure before I left work, everything was inputted, everything was done, so that all I got to do is show up and tell my piece. I have to rush in talking about, I forgot to do it. There was time.
Well, some people say they work well under pressure. When I was in college, I did. Now I don't like being under pressure. No. I don't like that. But when I was in college, because I procrastinated, I didn't want to do it. Probably wasn't even. I worked well because I would kick out a paper 2 days before, the day before, ending it. I don't believe it now. I think that was something.
I used to say the same thing. I used to say that I was so prideful. I work better under pressure. No, my body was going, no, you don't, because I'm tired of you rushing and getting things done. Because imagine if you just had that extra time. Now, let's say, things happen. It may happen occasionally, but that's not how we should be living our life. Rushing. I used to say the same thing. Oh, I work well under pressure. I can get it done. See, look at me. I don't need all that. I can just do it the night before. And my body was going, please stop.
Yeah, why are you doing that to yourself? And we think that's a good thing. Wait until the last minute, or I don't know if it's because we don't plan it. That's stressful when you don't plan things, because if you can plan to do an hour today, an hour the next day, or 20 minutes and get something done. But I think that has to do with that scheduling and planning. That's causing us stress.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes we just don't want to do it. We're not interested. And sometimes it's not things that we want to do. But if we schedule it out, plan it out, that way we do it like you just said, do a little bit here today, do a little bit tomorrow, schedule it out, and then it's all done. And then you're relaxed. Like we have to learn to do our work. We say work smarter, not harder. But we have to do things also relaxed. We want to do things with ease. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
All of that.
That takes away that stress when you're not, because it's so funny. Like I said, I'm proud of this watch. Well, I got this watch, right? And it tells me my stress level. And my stress level is good. It's like almost to the end, like to that green, blue. I don't know what the colors, right? The red. But I had in the morning this week, I'm facilitating a live book read. So I volunteered this week. So at 6:30, between 6:30 and 7, it's at 7 o'clock. My alarm went off and I had to get up and get ready. And you know how you can go get on camera with your face looking like you just woke up. Right. My stress level was up because I looked at it. And then the call and everything after that, it was so smooth. But it was that. So just a little bit of rushing causes stress. It didn't cause real stress, but you could see my body was into something. And that's just when you wait until the last minute. That we all need to have our body monitored to see what's really happening.
Exactly. Check in with yourself. We know stressors will happen. Let's say you're working and all of a sudden supervisor comes in and say, I need this to go on, or a student acts out, or there's a fire alarm, there's a stay in place. I don't like those drills, but we have to do all those things that interrupt us. So those are stressors by itself. But the things that we can control, let's try to control them better. And then throughout the day, I remember I went to a workshop and they had like a meter. Check in with yourself. Like, how are you this morning? And then by the afternoon, well, how are you doing this afternoon? Okay, now it's almost time to go home. How are you doing? Oh, tonight, how are you doing? Like you check in with yourself, and even just giving yourself time to breathe. Like one of my coworkers, they were laughing at me. I said, no, sometimes you just got to take 2 minutes to breathe. Like the way my schedule
Yeah.
is set up, I have like 5 minutes in between students. I need to breathe. Like I know I'm breathing because I'm alive, but you need to
Yeah.
take those few minutes just to from one student to the next student. You need to kind of okay, next student, because that's a new personality coming into your room.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
You do. You know, we have the SEL, that social emotional learning training and all that. We're working with the kids. And that set is it 4, 7, 8 or something like that. You breathe in for a certain amount, hold it, and then let it out for eight
Mhm.
seconds. We know all that. That's crazy because we know it.
Right.
And to breathe, I had to talk to my mother because she's having a hard time getting up her stairs. And when she get upstairs, there's a chair up there for her to sit. And then
Okay.
she's like, no, stop, take some deep breaths, breathe, and then she relaxes. But I'm showing her it. That's crazy because we know it, you
Right, but we
know.
don't do it for ourselves. We like, oh, later, later. Or sometimes we're just stressing just because we're just so anxious about everything. And sometimes I know that's a part of you. That could be something that I know I was talking to a colleague and she was saying that's something that she's dealing with. And I said, okay, you working with your doctor with that. I said, but there's other things that we can talk and we can work it out so that there's some things you don't have to worry about. Like, don't
Yeah,
just, go to 10 when it's like, oh, supervisor wants to talk to me. Okay, maybe they just want to have a chat. Doesn't mean it's something bad, but sometimes we just have
it
to
all feels
relax.
like it.
Yeah, we have to relax because sometimes we have our whole narrative. We have the whole book written before, and all they wanted to, maybe they wanted to congratulate you on something. And you had a
Yeah.
whole story, the whole narrative of something. They had nothing to do with anything to make changes. Like, what's happening? Now,
So
I've
true.
done it and I've been there. And I'm like, we're not going there anymore. So, all the things I tell people, I'm like, I've been through that. I understand it. Yeah, that's not good. So, stop building up a
Yeah.
narrative that has nothing to do with anything. Like we have to go by known information, not imaginary information.
Oh, you need to say that again. You work on operate on facts. I tell people that I operate on facts,
Yes.
but our imagination can run away.
Yes, it runs
Oh my goodness.
wild. And
Oh,
then
especially
we're
when your
so worked
supervisor
up
comes.
and I gotta then we in the emergency room. Like we need to keep those co-pays in our pocket.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You keep dropping gems. Like that's so true. For real. I know teachers. We don't have the great big co-pays. You know,
But
some of
still,
us do,
I keep
some
it
of
in my
us
pocket
don't.
unless it's
But
a
you need.
a regular doctor visit that you have to go to.
Yeah.
But sometimes, and then if you go to the emergency room, it's higher.
Yeah. But and senseless because we could prevent things.
Yeah, a lot of things
Most.
are preventative. Yes.
Yeah. So okay, we talked about that. What we like to do. So would you call that work life harmony? Is that something? Is that I don't believe in work life balance because I don't know how because I might have to do a lot right here and then a little bit over here and then one day I do a lot over here. So I don't believe in that 50-50 when I get home.
No,
I
no,
don't believe in that. But that
no.
harmony, I call it harmony. It has to
Right. I
be.
say harmony. I kind of like go between the both words and I look at it like this. When you bake a cake, you got all these different ingredients, right? It's a little bit of this, a lot of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a lot of that. So the cake needs all of those things to make it rise. So that's what like I kind of play around with both words, balance and harmony. And I use harmony a lot too because like mind, body, and spirit has to be in alignment with each other. If the body
Yeah.
is out of alignment, then the mind is out of alignment, the spirit and all of that stuff is out of alignment. So yeah, I look at it, like I said, as baking a cake or some type of recipe. You need all of those different things in order for the recipe to work. So yes, maybe you have a lot over here, but then you got a little bit, little bit, a little bit, and that's going to make run that chick. Like, okay, I got
Yeah.
it, I got it. And that's okay. Because and
Yeah.
nothing's going to be 50-50. Because if you have 50 eggs and you got 50 things of milk, 50 whatever cups of milk, that's what kind of cake is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Right,
kind of cake
right.
is that? What are we making?
Yeah.
So yeah, I
That
don't believe
that
in like it's nothing going to be even. It's not going to be
yeah.
even. And sometimes you may have a lot of fun or less work, or sometimes this might be the period where you have to do a lot of work, trying to get all these
Yeah.
engagements. You're trying to get your day job together, and you making sure, like, when you leave work, if you have appointments, you have speaking engagements, you're talking, doing workshop stuff. That's a lot of work, but you still
Yeah.
can have fun in between. You still can have a few moments of fun. It doesn't have to be all work and no play.
Yeah, because that makes you enjoy it better. When I'm
Exactly.
happy, if I had a good night, like a good evening or a good weekend, when I come to work on Monday, I'm good. I'm like, people say,
Exactly.
how are you? I greet my students every morning. How are you? I'm great. I'm fantastic. Right? Because I had
Exactly.
a great weekend. Even if it was just I rest, even if I rested, but if I'm feeling good, my students, they gonna know it. Like
They're
I
gonna
feel
feel
good.
it. If you're on one, which is like joy and happiness. If you on 10, now you can be on 10 in happiness as well. But if you on 10 in the negative, that's you setting the tone. You have to set the
Yeah,
tone for the people that's coming into your space. Like when I come into my
yeah,
room, I've set the room up how I want it. I have like affirmations out. I have things, and I become one with my space. And I come
mhm.
in, I see what I have to do for the day. I make my own schedule of what I'm going to do. Like I give myself 2 to 3 things that has to get done during the day. And then I put my music on. So whatever I feel like listening to, that's what I'm going to put on. And I don't want to interact. I don't want to talk. Sometimes I'll have conversation, but when the first few minutes, I want to be one with my space. So I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
myself together because you figure you've gone through traffic, you've parked, now you come in and now it's cold. So now I'm rushing into the building to make sure, everything is together. So I say set the tone for your areas for
yeah,
the day, because the people who are going to run into you are going to feel it. You ever walk into people in the morning, you come to work and they're like, "Ugh." And it's like, well, what
yeah. You
happened
like
with
what?
you? What's going on?
Yeah,
You ain't no joy.
yeah,
Like I see you and you
yeah,
see me and you not happy. What's good
yeah,
about it?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
maybe you got to learn about the joy, but you have to have that joy that's in the inside that helps you,
yeah,
even if you're having a bad day, because sometimes things are not great at home. Sometimes you
yeah,
had a bad ride in, but that joy is going. Once I get in the door, I know I cannot bring that in here. I can't bring it
yeah.
in. And some days, you just need a coworker to walk past you and just give you a smile, and that can make all the difference as well. We speak up on
Absolutely.
each other.
Yeah. At my last school, it was smaller, and I used to go the classes I passed through, or unless somebody was like a friend of mine, I would go to their class. But I used to stop by and say good morning to everybody. We had a new teacher. I don't know if she was from another school or where she came from, but she was a new teacher in our building. And this, I never went to her class. And this particular day, I said, "Let me stop by, say good morning. I just want to say good morning to you, make sure everything's okay." She started crying. She started
Mm.
crying. She was like, "Oh my God, you don't even understand. I really needed that." And I was like, "I tried. You're right. I tried. I just want you to feel welcome
Right.
and just to say good morning." And I don't know what she was going through. I didn't ask her because she wanted to share. She would have, but she let me know she really needed that day. And it just so happened I was there. I was there to give her that smile and that greeting because that's what I did. That's just who I was. My
Hmm.
last this position I got now is kind of changing me. I'm trying to get back to where I was.
Okay.
But yeah, it just that makes you feel good. That helps you set the tone for somebody else. You
Exactly.
know?
Because, goodness and that happiness is catchy. Just like negativity is catchy. When you feeling good, it kind of is catchy. And people start catching on. Like, oh, okay. It's not so bad. No, it's
Yeah,
not so bad. Not at all. We can
yeah,
deal with anything. Yes, some things are difficult. We may have difficult coworkers, difficult administration, difficult students. And some days you
yeah,
just not feeling it because maybe you in pain today. Maybe something's going on with you and you're really trying to push through, and we have other things that we also deal with, union work, all of those things add up
yeah,
together in the mixture in the bowl. We mixing it all up. And then,
yeah,
what we do after work. But we have to try our best. And that's why when you have a structure and strategy in place, you can say, okay, today I fell off the wagon. but I know how to get back up. I know how to go back to, okay, these are the things, and let me prioritize what we're doing, what I need to do, because sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to get something done that's due. Let's say we in January, but we know we have until May to make sure it gets done. So why are we stressing in January? You got till May.
Yeah.
So that's not a
Uh-huh.
priority right now. Yes, you know it's due. So put it on your calendar. So, like, maybe every month, whatever it is, you can tend to it. But why are we stressing about it? You don't have to stress about something that's not in your purview for the moment. Focus on the now, and then we'll keep going.
Yeah. I'm listening. You know, my everything you're saying, my wheels start turning. So I keep hearing that scheduling back.
Yeah,
That scheduling back. That
mhm.
is going to take a lot of pressure off of us.
It
And
will. It
so,
will.
yeah, so I need just give me a little outline. Give us a little outline. So I want I want to embrace this balance. I don't want to be stressing. It's January is here. And we
Mhm.
got a few more days, but you know what I mean.
Right.
It's the middle of the winter. It's not the middle. It's the winter, and
Right.
these are
Winter
the
said,
darkest
hey.
days, those darkest days of the year.
Yes.
And I need to know, what do I need to do to just make this work for the at least through the end of the winter. Then I can rejuvenate. Come springtime when the flowers start coming out. What I need a little, because I'm ready to write this down. I can't write right now, but I can record and go ahead and write it. What do
Now,
you
you want something to help you with your scheduling, to get you together?
Well, I want to walk in every day, not every day, but most days. I want to be good going to work because this is what I do. That's what I do. I don't want my job to be stressful. So just say you got administrators telling you to do something. This works better. You talking to your coworkers in there. We could get together and have a jam session on
Right.
complaining without a solution.
Right.
We can do that.
Right.
And uh, I got family. I got my mom. I got grandkids. We got stuff. So I need to know how to line this up. I know you said line out, write down what we need,
Right.
but
So
give
that's
us
what you're
an
going to do. The first thing you're going to
overview.
do, you want to visualize. How do we visualize it? We write it all down. We write all those people down, all those things and all those places down. And while you're doing that, make sure you're going to infuse the fun. You're going to infuse everything together, because you need to see, you need to see your vision. This is the vision of my life. This is all the things that have my attention. You need to write that down. So once you visualize, you can see it. It's like your menu, right? We don't want a buffet anymore. That's the thing. You don't want a buffet. You want to have a prefix menu. You want to be able to pick out the things that you need to get done. So we go visualizing first, because that's the buffet. Okay, we don't want the buffet. We don't like that. That's too much stuff. So
It's
now,
on.
right. So now you're going to analyze it. So now you're going to figure out, what are you doing? What are you doing too much of? You get to analyze all the different things, because sometimes we are behind schedule because we're binge watching. You say, hey, did you see that movie? Oh, did you see that series? Girl, that took me all night. I took me 2 days. But you're supposed to be doing something else. You're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing your meal plan, and you watching what's on the series. So now
Yeah.
you're interfering with what you should be doing. We're not saying you can't watch it, but not the whole series. We got to do meal prep. When you get to work, oh, I got to stop at the fast food because I forgot to make my breakfast. Oh, I got to go out for lunch because I forgot to make lunch. So now you're also you're spending extra money, which is stressful, because all you had to do was sit home and do the meal plan for yourself. So that's what you analyze, like you visualize, you analyze all those things. And you, like I said, sometimes you need to add more things in, that you haven't been doing, or you take away. This is when you start adding. This is where the math comes in. You add and subtract in this section when you're analyzing what the thing is. So that's why you have to write it out. And then you can prioritize what's important. What's
Yeah.
important right now? Like, what's important for me to do right in this moment? You can have a year plan, because some things are like within this 3 months, within the 6 months, within the 12 months. You can have it lined out like that, so that you know what you want to do. And that comes with your fun as well. You don't have to have all your fun in January. You got from January to December. Spread it
Yeah.
out. Spread
Still
it out.
thinking about it. I'm ready. No, just playing. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like spread it out. And even
Uh-huh.
some of these things we want to do and watch and people we want to let's set it up where we can, okay, well we're gonna meet on this day or even phone calls. I like talking with people, some of my friends and family, but I have to set it up. Do you have time on this day so we can
Yeah.
have time to talk? I don't like rushing sometimes when I'm on the phone.
Mhm.
So we can do that. And also in those process, now we got to set boundaries. A lot of our problem, we don't know how to set boundaries. We don't know how to say no. We don't know. We don't believe in saying yes to ourselves, and we don't believe in saying no to everybody else because we feel guilty. If I say no, they're not going to like me anymore. They're not going to invite me out. Well, maybe you shouldn't have been going.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the
Yeah.
time for you to be going out. Maybe you need to have time for yourself. So definitely setting boundaries and delegating the duties. Like maybe there's something like if you work with colleagues and there's something that it's a project that y'all all do the same thing and y'all can help each other out. Well, why not?
Yeah.
You're leading your own
Yeah.
classrooms. Even in therapy, if I need help with something, I'm going to reach out to one of my other SOPs. I'm going to reach out to one of them and say, hey, I need some help with this. Can you help me with this? And if you need something, then, we help each other out. Delegate duties
Yeah.
and then take action on all of those things. And that definitely will help you because I said this before, your schedule is the foundation of how you want to live your life. And if it's out of
Yeah.
order, it's because you're out of order. You have to get it in order. And even a supervisor, sometimes those are tough conversations. And I've had them where you have to tell them, like, look, like, I don't know what you're looking at, but I know what I'm looking at. And that's not going to work. Let's come up with a
Yeah.
date and a time where you need now, let's say it needs to get done. Because sometimes from the top, they're told to get things done. And then they tell us. But the
Yeah.
people at the top not looking at my schedule. They don't know what I have going
Yeah.
on. They don't know what parents don't come in. They don't know what's happening at all. But we can have those conversations and maybe it works. Sometimes it don't always work. And we know that. And those are the stresses that we have no control over. Sometimes we have to put what we want aside because of what needs to get done. It's like, look, it got done. And it's done.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Sometimes it's like that. But sometimes we have to use our voice and say, look, you keep asking for this, and then you asking me how come I didn't do this. Well, this is why, because you keep
Yeah.
interrupting me.
But
So
that's
those are
true.
right. So those are the things and the ways I would say how we can live the life of harmony. By saying more yes to ourselves, having those boundaries, and making sure we know what we want. We have to imagine. So let's imagine you can have it, whatever life you want, the life you want, you can have it. No holds barred. You can have the life that you want. You need to write out what does that look like.
Yeah.
And once you know
Yeah.
what that looks like, how are you going to get it? What are you going to do? What steps are you going to take to get it there? Because we all dream of a life. Dreams are not just for children. Dreams are
No.
for us too. So what are we gonna
Yeah.
do? So I would say, definitely know what the life you want. Like we all having vision board parties. It's vision board party time. But half of them are just decorations for our walls because we're
Yeah.
not doing anything to get that vision done. Like
You
what are the
gotta do
action steps
something
that
to
you're
get there.
taking?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I'm loving it. And because I'm taking everything I know and what you're saying is reminding me of what I should be doing. And also, what do you want to do? Because we all had goals before, we all had plans before, and we figured out or we learned what it took to get there. You
Yes.
couldn't be a teacher, you couldn't be a speech therapist, you couldn't be a speaker unless you sat down and said, well, what do I need to do to get that? So if you could do that for a job, for a career, you could do
Yeah.
that for your life, for your joy. I
Yes.
want joy. What do I need to
Yes.
do to
Come
get there?
on. Come on.
Yeah,
Let's go with joy.
that really, because you could be happy or sad, but you still can have joy within all of it.
Exactly. Because look,
I love
happiness is
it.
relative to what's happening, but it's that inner joy, that inner peace that
Yeah.
everybody says that they want. But what are you doing to get it there? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this episode, what it's going to do for people, what it's doing for me right now. Because
Oh, look, I'm taking in the conversation like I'm I'm over here tapping my feet like yes.
yeah, especially because of our prior conversation about what we our plans and our goals. This
Yes.
is like, okay, you gotta write that down. You gotta, what does it take to get there? And all that's right here, right now. And this is great for me. And I just thank you so much for just coming. This is great.
I've had a
Uh,
great time. This has been wonderful. I'm so proud of what you're doing. I'm proud of seeing you work. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. I'm like, I'm cheering. I got my pom poms cheering for you. Yes, I was,
Thank you.
thankful
Yeah.
and grateful for even coming on so that we are here connecting and collaborating together.
Yeah. So we can flourish.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's right. Say
I'm
that.
grateful that you came. Yeah,
Yes.
because this, for real, this is what I needed, and I know how I do my episodes is what do I need, and somebody else needs it. I do figure out who needs what, and and ask questions and see what
All
people
right,
need.
Zaneta.
See, Zenaida said she needs this
Yes.
because it's the winter, and it gets those dark, short days. They
Yes.
cause something in here, and so just
Yes.
knowing that if I need it, somebody else needs it.
Yes.
We used to be in school. We got, I don't want to take it too much longer, but we used to be in college. If you went to college when you were older, or you went to college with an older person, that older person had all the answers. But guess what? They are answering questions for you because the young people, I don't know what was happening. They didn't want to raise their hand.
Right.
I was older. And it just is, this is help for somebody. I said I
Yes.
say that.
Yes,
And
yes.
I,
That's the goal, transforming lives. We need to be, that's what we want. Transform lives. Nobody wants to
yeah,
walk around tight. We want to walk around with happiness. It's a different walk. When someone's
it
happy and
is.
they're happy in what they're doing, they got that harmony going, you can tell. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, I'm good. And people like, you're really good? Yes. You know what's
Yes.
going on in the world?
Yes.
Yes,
But
I know what's going on in the world, but I can't control those things. I can control how I respond to those things and act
yeah.
accordingly. But I can't get uptight because I'm gonna wind up in the hospital. Who's doing that? I don't want to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want, we want to thrive, and that's what
Yes,
I
yes,
want to do. And so again, I thank you again for this session. It's
yes,
called a session, right?
yes.
I really do, and I appreciate, and we're gonna stay in touch. We got a lot to talk about.
Oh, definitely.
So
Look, yes. We gonna have a
yeah,
chew and chat. Yes.
yeah. Oh, that's the thing. We got StreamYard. We don't have to stream, but we can talk. We
Okay.
got Zoom. Yeah, because we got
Yes.
plans, and
Yeah, we
I'm
do. We have
excited
plans.
about,
Yes.
yeah, what you're doing. I mean, speaking, this is like you have done it. Like you. I know it's just the beginning, but speaking facilitating workshops, and that's awesome
Thank
because
you. Thank you.
that's awesome because I knew you, but I didn't know you until I sat in one of your workshops. Then I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, she got this thing. I like that. So again, thank you, and thank you everybody who tuned in and people who are going to watch. People have said they're going to watch. It's Christmas Eve,
I
so that's
know.
something else. I thank you for coming on Christmas
Oh,
Eve.
not a problem. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Look, my business was open tonight.
Yeah, it is. So, thank you everybody for tuning in to Educators with Oil. I am your host, Ronette Branham, and give a big round of applause to our guest, Linda Miller, a speech
Yeah.
therapist, and as you see, a keynote speaker. I love it. Thank you for
Yes.
tuning in and have a blessed day.
Awesome.